I purchased these trees in June of 2017. I previously uploaded a video on these when they were starting to set fruit. I'll put a link to that video at the end of this video. Back in October of 2019, when I uploaded the first video on these trees, the fruit, as you can see here, had already set. It was the first fruit set, so they only had about 6 guavas on each tree. In November, the fruit was still green, and they were developing to a good size. I was going to put these trees in the ground a few months prior, but decided to wait when I saw they were starting to flower. I plan to put them in this espalier area after harvesting the fruit. I still have a little work to do in this area, but this is where they're going to be going when I put them in the ground. Here they are in late November, still putting on good size, and trees are looking good. At this stage, the fruit is still green, but doing well. In December, I noticed that one of the trees started to develop some buds. Here's a better view. These were the only 2 buds on the entire tree. I'm hoping next season, after being in the ground for about a year, I'll have a better crop. By the second week in December, the fruit was still green. There were some that had very slight hints of yellow starting to form, but they were still not ripe. In late December, the fruit was still not ripe. However, you could see a little more shades of yellow on some of them. At this stage, the scent of the guava was barely notable. I'm told for this variety, once they put on a strong smell and they turn yellow, they are ready to pick. By early January, the fruit was almost ripe. They still had a little shade of green on them, but they were just about ready to be picked. As you can see here, they're pretty good size. This tree here, the fruit didn't seem to be quite as ripe as the ones on the other tree, but still had good sized fruit as well. During the first week of January, I began to pick some of the fruit. At this stage, the smell was very strong. As you can see here in this pick, the fruit that was harvested was really good size. After picking the fruit, I did allow it to ripen on the counter overnight. I should note that the following day, the smell of the guava was even stronger than before. In this pic, you can see that the inside had a good pink color. It was juicy and had a really good flavor. It did have a few seeds, but they were big enough to be easily removed. When they're this ripe, the smell is really strong. When they're in the developing stage, when they're still green, there's no real smell whatsoever. But once ripe and yellow, they have a really strong scent. Here's another one that I picked. Here's a few more that were harvested. After harvesting the majority of the fruit, I decided to put these trees in the ground. Most of the fruit on the tree had ripened within a 2-week period. There was still a few guavas left on one of the trees, but nearly all were harvested by mid-January and were ready to be planted in the ground. Both of these trees were in 10-gallon grow bags for the last 8 months or so. They did really well in these grow bags, and I was very pleased with the growth rate. Here's a picture of what they looked like back in March of 2019. They were transplanted to the 10-gallon grow bags a couple of months after this shot. As you can see here, they have very little branching. Shortly after transplanting to the grow bag, I cut the tips off the majority of the branches in order to encourage fruiting and more branching. I didn't cut them back too much, only about an inch off the tips. Within a relatively short period, they had branched out. I'm sure I'll get even more branching as soon as I start to train the branches for espalier growth. I've only been using grow bags for a short time. Up until recently, I used regular plastic potting containers. I switched to the grow bags after doing a little research in which they claim that you get a healthier root development using grow bags. As you can see here, the roots do appear to look good and well developed. Another advantage of the grow bags is they're supposed to keep the roots from circling so they don't get root bound like they do in plastic pots. These trees were only in these bags for about 8 months or so it's not really a good test for that theory. I have a few others that I plan to transplant at a later date that have been in grow bags much longer that will be a better test. Before putting them in the ground, I cleared out the top of the root ball for each tree. Next, I sprinkled some mycorrhiza on the sides as well as the top of the root ball. After putting them in the ground, I backfilled the hole with little worm castings. I should note this area was previously prepped for planting. You can check out my channel and see videos on how I prepped this area for planting. When I backfilled this area, I made sure not to cover the exposed crown of the root ball. To protect the exposed area, I added some pumice around the trunk of the tree and completely covered the exposed root ball. Lastly, I spread some wood chips around the pumice, taking care not to have any of the wood chips come in contact with the trunk of the tree. I still have to finish setting up this area. This is part of my espalier planting area. I still need to add some boards and run the wire to train the branches. Still a little bit more work to do before I'm done here. I'll put a video as soon as I'm done with all the work here. Well, that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to click on the links below to see other videos I've posted. I'll be uploading videos on a regular basis and keep you updated on my backyard orchard. Hit the subscribe button below and don't forget to click on the bell so you get notifications as soon as I upload videos. Grow your own, and thank you for watching.